Again, Helio College math students. In this video we're going to talk about directed numbers. So when we have two positives, two negatives, adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers, that sort of thing. So to start with, we're going to look at these types that you see here on this page, and the rules are pretty simple. That if the signs are the same, so if we've got two positives or two negatives, that always leads to a positive result, as we see in this example here. Plus plus makes plus 5, minus minus makes plus 5. Now if the signs are different, if we've got a positive and a negative, then that leads to a negative. So you might want to pause the video and try to figure out these 4 examples down here on your own and see if you can get the answer first. Then I'll have a go at it. Okay, so I'll try it now. So the first one here, we have a plus minus, which of course leads to negative 52. So the signs were different, so that ends up being negative. Now whether or not there are brackets doesn't make any difference. So in this one we've got plus minus 13. There's no brackets around the 13, but it still works the same way. So this gives us negative 13. Okay, this one, both signs are negative. That makes plus 25. I'm not going to bother putting the plus in front. If you did put it in front, that's okay. Won't lose any marks, but just writing the number 25 means positive. And this last one, positive 3. Okay, now, this rule that we've just talked about here about negative making positive can be a bit confusing when we look at this next set of examples. For instance, this very first one here. Now a lot of students think, well, I see 2 negatives there, so that must make a positive. But it works differently if the negatives aren't right side by side to one another. So see how back here, with this example here for instance, with the negative 3, the negatives are right next to one another, so they make a positive. With something like this one on the left, minus 3 take 6, or negative 3 take 6, it doesn't work the same way, and that can be confusing. Now, I'm going to show you this a couple of different ways how to do these. The first one is to look at these set of rules I've outlined here. If the signs are both the same, add the 2 numbers. If the signs are different, find the difference between the 2 numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go through and do each of these one at a time. Here we've got the signs are the same, so I'm going to add the 2 numbers. So 3 and 6 makes 9. Okay, now I'm not finished with this one. I'm going to come back and finish that off, but I just want to show you, okay, the signs are different. Okay, this is plus 6 and minus 8, so the signs are different. I'm going to find the difference between the 2 numbers. The difference between 6 and 8 is 2. Once again, we're not at the final answer there. Okay, negative 3 and 7. Think to yourself, are the signs different or the same? Do I add the numbers, or do I find the difference between them? And the signs are different, so we find the difference between 3 and 7, which is 4. And this last one, the signs are different, so we find the difference between 14 and 20, which is 6. Okay, now, we haven't finished these yet. The next step is the final answer positive or negative? Put the sign of the bigger of the 2 numbers in front of the answer. Okay, so we go back here and look at negative 3, take 6. The biggest number is 6, and the sign in front of it is negative, so the answer here is negative. So in this case, negative didn't make positive. The signs, those negatives are not next to one another. Okay, this next one, the bigger of the 2 numbers is 8. 8 is negative, so we put a negative in front of the answer here. Okay, 3 and 7. Think to yourself, which is the bigger number? Of course it's 7. 7 is positive, So the answer stays positive. -3 plus 7 is 4. And this last one, see if you can get it. I'll give you a moment to think about it. Okay, so the bigger number is 20. 20 is negative, so the answer is negative. So that's one method you could utilize for these directed numbers type situations. The classic way that us teachers like to show this is using a number line, of course. So that would involve a line like this. Just bear with me and I'll put a line on the page. Okay, so a number line, and we have 0 here in the middle, and then we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, counting up, 5, 6, 7, we'll go 8, and then down in the other direction, -1, -2, and all the negatives, -3, -4, one more, -8. Okay, so positive in this direction, negative in this direction. So using the number line we can illustrate these examples. If we look at this first one, -3. Okay, so that means we're starting at -3 and we're going to take another 6 off. So we go all the way down to, oh, I needed a bit more there, all the way down to -9. So -3 starting there, taking away another 6, going more negative, takes us down to -9. The second example, let's have a look at that. Oops, don't do that. We'll leave that red dot there. Okay, we start at 6 in this one, so +6, and we're going to subtract 8. So we're going to go in the negative direction for the second one. So take off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we end up here at -2, just like the answer there. The third one here, let's see if I can rub this out a bit. That's not too bad. Okay, we're starting at -3 with this one. Okay, so here we are. Oh, that's good. I've already got a dot there. Okay, -3, and we're going to add 7. So we're going to go in the positive direction. -3 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we end up at 4, just like that answer there. So you can visualize these using the number line as well. If you're still confused, make sure you get me over and we can do a few more of these ones together. And we'll sort that out. Okay, as usual, look in the video description for the questions to try.